Andrea? Sarah, can you hear me okay? Sarah?
Yeah, Ben, this is Sarah. I can hear you. Yep, it looks like we've got a good number of members who've logged in. We'll confirm we have a quorum when we do our roll call.
Okay, I just want to
but we're yep,
Okay,
we're ready to start the
okay,
meeting whenever you would like.
all set to go. So I want to call the meeting of this Go Virginia State Board to order. My name's Ben Davenport, and I serve as the vice chairman of the board. Chairman Furl sends his regrets that he's unable to join us today. I want to welcome our newest board members, member George Barker, and also welcome back Senator Frank Ruff back to the board. So much has taken place since our last board meeting in April. Because of the quick action of the state board, the 9 regional councils, the staff, and our partners, the Go Virginia initiative is playing a critical role in the pandemic-related resilience and recovery efforts. I also want to note at the top of the meeting that the Go Virginia and all recovery efforts must double down on our commitment to equity and inclusion by ensuring that our efforts promote economic opportunity in every locality and neighborhood in our Commonwealth. So Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you to provide a brief introduction of our meeting.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Davenport. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I would just remind you, if you're not speaking, it's helpful to mute your phone. We get a little bit of background noise, and that'll just make it a more positive experience. You can do that on your computer, or if you're on your phone, you can dial *6 to mute your phone. So let me just begin with this statement. Due to the governor's declared state of emergency due to COVID-19, it is impractical and unsafe for the Virginia Growth and Opportunity Board to assemble in a single location. So this meeting will be held electronically by video conference and telephone pursuant to 2020 amendments to the 2019 Appropriations Act. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss or transact the business statutorily required or necessary to continue operations of the Go Virginia Board and the discharge of its lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities. The public is welcome, and we see many members of the public to attend the meeting electronically. The Go Virginia Board will make available a recording or transcript of the meeting on its website in accordance with the timeframes established in sections 22-3707 and 22-3701.1. I would like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and will be available for review after the meeting. Welcome to Google Meet. We hope that this creates a better positive meeting experience for you. If you're accessing this using your computer, to mute and unmute yourself. You can also enable or disable your camera. So please, you're encouraged to use those tools. As I mentioned, please keep yourself on mute when you're not talking throughout the meeting, but we do hope to encourage conversation and dialogue using this platform. Members are encouraged to use the chat feature. If they'd like to speak on an item, Mr. Davenport and I discussed the need to take some pauses to allow members to just chime in and ask a question. And so each time we take an action, we'll be doing that. When you do speak, please introduce yourself so that we can accurately record either your vote or your comment. And so those are our logistics for the day. If you do have a problem, I will tell you with this platform on your computer, there is a dial-in number provided. And so disaster planning, if you need to, just go to your meeting invitation or agenda and you can just dial in by phone. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to a roll call, and Andrea.
Thank you. We're going to start with Nancy Agee. Delegate Bagby.
This is a good, just one moment, Andrea. If you are on the phone and you want to indicate your presence, but you're having audio trouble, would you please just put that in the chat for us? There's some folks dialed in and we can't see their names. So if Andrea passes over you, but you are participating in the meeting, please let us know.
Okay, let me try to start at the beginning again. Nancy Agee. Delegate Bagby. Secretary Ball.
Here.
Senator Barker. Senator Barker. Ben Davenport. Mr. Dyke. Jim Dyke. Speaker Fillercorn.
Here.
Mr. Fralin.
Yes,
Mr. Fralin, can you unmute yourself? Ms. Freno? Ms. Freno?
Present.
Thank you. Senator Howell?
Here.
Thank you. Doug Wanarina?
Here and present.
Secretary Lane?
Here.
Delegate Mugler?
Here.
Secretary Carney?
Present.
Senator Ruff? Stephen Smith? Oh,
Stephen Smith's here.
thank you. Todd Stottlemyre?
Here.
Robin Sullenberger?
Here.
Delegate Torian?
Here.
Pia Trignani?
I'm here.
Marilyn West? Joe Wilson? Debbie Nguyen?
Here.
Thank you.
And then we have.
Andrea, can you please confirm the quorum?
This is Lamont Bagby. I'm here as well.
Thank you, Delegate Bagby. And I see
Thank you,
Senator Ruff,
Delegate Bagby.
Senator Ruff as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ruff. I see Jim Dyke. Can you, no, you're here? Okay. Okay, I think we can confirm the quorum.
Thank you.
Haywood Frail is here.
Thank you, Mr. Fralin.
Joe Wilson is here.
And Nancy Agee is here.
Okay, so is that, you can see it's awkward at best on doing this by the way we're doing it, but we will struggle through these. Maybe we'll get better as we go. So we have provided the public with a means to comment on these proceedings in writing. Andrea, could you please read any public comments that have been submitted?
Mr. Davenport, there were no public comments submitted.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. And we have 7 items included in today's consent agenda, and the details have been provided in the packet. I'd like to ask Sarah to walk through the consent items briefly, as we have new board members and multiple items on the consent agenda today.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport. The first 2 items are self-explanatory. If you remember, we did not approve any minutes at our April 17th meeting, so that is a carryover. So hopefully you had an opportunity to review both of those. The next item is the fiscal year 21 capacity building fund allocation and budgets. And for folks that have been on the board and just for folks that are new, each year there is an allocation of $250,000 for each year. This is described in the state budget. The purpose of this particular item is to approve the capacity building budgets and also to waive the match requirement on these funds. The next item in the consent agenda is the regional capacity building budget. So concurrent with approving these budgets, you'll be approving the funds rather than be approving the way that they're going to be used in the field. We've provided a memo with a link that provides additional detail, a narrative of the budget, but we've also provided you, as staff, has prepared a summary so you can see the major categories of use of those capacity building funds. The other item in the consent agenda is the Go Virginia per capita allocations. In addition to the capacity building funds, each region receives funds based on their population. We use population estimates from UVA's Weldon Cooper Center. In previous years, the board has elected to have a $1 million floor so that no region receives less. Those funds are taken from the statewide competitive portion of the Go Virginia Fund. And so this particular memo describes the per capita allocation and the redistribution of the competitive fund to reach that $1 million floor. The last item is a GoTech Phase 2B match waiver request. This is a previously funded project. Due to multiple uncertainties related to the upcoming school year, they are requesting a very modest reduction in the required match for this project. Total match committed to Phase 2B of the GoTech project was originally $3.395 million. They are asking for a 10% reduction, and the memo describes the considerations there.
Okay.
There's one more item, if I might, sir, and that is just a technical amendment to the modified match policy that the board approved at the last meeting. We've prepared a modified policy that would shift the deadline for applications that would receive this more fair match requirement to October 30th, and that's simply to accommodate our regular application cycle.
Okay. Are you through, Sarah?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So what we'd like to do is vote on these as a block. However, if there's any one of these that you would like to have removed to discuss separate and apart, say so. Hearing no one say that they'd like to do that, then I'd like to have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, this is Frank Ruff, and I would move that we approve in mass.
All right, we have a motion from Frank Ruff. Is there a second?
Second, Senator Barker.
Second from Senator Barker. Okay, Andrea, we'll have a call vote.
Thank you. I'll start with Nancy Agee.
Approve.
Delegate Bagby.
Aye.
Thank you. Secretary Ball,
Aye.
Senator Barker,
Aye.
Ben Davenport,
Aye.
Jim Dyke,
Aye.
Speaker Fillercorn,
Aye.
Mr. Haywood Fralin,
Aye.
Leah Freemel,
Aye.
Senator Howell,
Aye.
Doug Wanarina,
Aye.
Secretary Lane,
Aye.
Delegate Mugler,
Aye.
Secretary Carney,
Aye.
Senator Ruff,
Aye.
Stephen Smith, Todd Stottlemyre,
Aye.
Robin Sullenberger,
Aye.
Delegate Torian,
Aye.
Pia Trigiani,
Aye.
Marilyn West, Joe Wilson,
Aye.
and Debbie Nguyen.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And so we'll turn this over now to Eric, who will open the new business portion.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport, and it's good to see you, board members. Thank you for being here today. You'll see in the action item regarding board policy number 12, the Tobacco Commission funds is matched. House Bill 1597 passed the General Assembly and was signed by the governor, goes into effect on July 1st. That law will permit certain Tobacco Commission funds to count towards the Go Virginia match requirement. This law does sunset on July 1st of 2021, so it would have to be reenacted by the General Assembly to continue. The new recommended board policy number 12 before you today outlines how Tobacco Commission funds can cover 50% of the Go Virginia total match requirement and may not be used as any local match requirement. This would be effective for new projects submitted between July 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2021. So this is the recommendation of how to implement this law for through the Go Virginia board's actions. I'm ready to take any questions if there are any from the board.
Okay, are there questions? Then hearing none, I would ask for a motion to approve this.
It's Janet Howell. I'll make that motion.
Joe Wilson, second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Andrew, will you have call for the vote?
Nancy Agee,
Approve.
Delegate Bagby,
Aye.
Secretary Ball,
Aye.
Senator Barker,
Aye.
Ben Davenport,
Aye.
Jim Dyke,
Aye.
Speaker Fillercorn,
Aye.
Haywood Fralin,
Aye.
Leah Freemel,
Aye.
Senator Howell,
Aye.
Doug Wanarina,
Aye.
Secretary Lane,
Aye.
Delegate Mugler,
Aye.
Secretary Carney,
Aye.
Senator Ruff,
Aye.
Stephen Smith,
Aye.
Todd Stottlemyre,
Aye.
Robin Sullenberger,
Aye.
Delegate Torian,
Aye.
Pia Trigiani,
Aye.
Marilyn West, Joe Wilson,
Aye.
and Debbie Nguyen.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Eric, will you continue?
Yes, if you turn to new business, item 3B, it's on page 17 of your packet. There's a memo starting on that page outlining details of outcomes for phase 2 of the GoTech project from Region 3. And as a reminder about the genesis of this project, in March 2019, the board approved Region 3's GoTech phase 2 competitive application for a total of $4,896,000. The request was contingent upon a validation of outcome from a scaled-back version of the project for an initial $1,320,000, and a review of outcomes from GoTech phase 1. So there was initial phase 1. The original request included the build out of 14 middle school exploratory career connection labs and dual enrollment credentialing programming throughout the region, and also in parts of Region 1 and 4. The scaled back version of phase 2A, so that initial part that required a validation coming back to the board, included 4 middle school exploratory career connection labs and an initial deployment of dual enrollment credentialing. With the validation provided in the memo, and there's a detailed kind of green, yellow light explanation of how the applicant has really worked to demonstrate that validation of this model. And it's been a very, very exciting project. DHCD is recommending approval as the GoTech project has been successful in meeting all the outcomes and have demonstrated an excellent track record with the program in the region. So with that, Mr. Chairman, we're happy to take any questions on the validation and the recommendation to approve us getting under contract with GoTech and Region 3 for the final phase of this project.
Okay, is there a discussion? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, this is Frank Ruff. I would move that we approve this.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
This is Leah Freeman. I second.
Thank you, Leah. Okay, Andrea, will you have call for the vote?
Nancy Agee. Delegate Bagby.
Aye.
Secretary Ball.
Aye.
Senator Barker.
Aye.
Ben Davenport.
Aye.
Jim Dyke.
Aye.
Speaker Phyllis Horn.
Aye.
Haywood Fralin.
Aye.
Leah Freeman.
Aye.
Senator Howell.
Aye.
Doug Lana.
Aye.
Secretary Lane.
Aye.
Delegate Mugler.
Aye.
Secretary Carney.
Aye.
Senator Ruff.
Aye.
Stephen Smith.
Aye.
Todd Stottlemyre.
Aye.
Robin Sullenberger. One more time, Robin Sullenberger. Delegate Torian.
Aye.
Tina Trigiani.
Aye.
Marilyn West. Joe Wilson. Joe Wilson. And Debbie Wynn.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, proceeding, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport. Next, we'll be going to the director's report. That's on page 30 of your packet. And before we start that, I just want to start from the DHCD perspective. Just commending the board, the regional councils, the support organizations, staff, assistant agencies, project applicants, localities, and really all the partners for moving so quickly to make Go Virginia's model of regional collaboration for higher paying jobs a critical part of the Commonwealth's response to the COVID-19 economic impacts. I want to especially thank Vice Chairman Davenport, Chairman Farrell, who have been working with us throughout this time, and thank the board, General Assembly, and administration for their support of the councils in this effort, and the board for pivoting here to really respond quickly. I also would be remiss if I didn't thank Sarah Dunnigan, Billy Gamble, Andrea Devaney, and Tor McGowan on the DHCD team, along with their support, Cody Anderson and others on our team. They've really worked hard, smartly and quickly to implement what you all set in motion in April, to really partner with our regions to respond quickly. And so I want to thank everyone. And you'll see as we go through and you see in the packet, there is a tremendous amount of effort going on in the regions in line with the Go Virginia vision and mission on that regional collaboration to respond quickly. So thank you all. And with that, I want to turn to our per capita applications, and those are on page 30. DHCD received a total of 4 per capita implementation, 1 statewide economic resilience and recovery application, and 3 regional economic resilience and recovery applications for review this cycle. 6 of those are in front of you today as a part of the packet, representing approximately 5.8 million in requests. 2 projects have been deferred for further work by the regions. I'd like to thank those who participated in the June work groups to review these applications: Ben Davenport, Tom Farrell, Leah Freemow, Robin Sullenberger, Pia Trigiani, and Marilyn West for their time and effort to review those, and also for assistance from the administration, the Commerce and Trade Secretariat on that review. Subject matter experts: Sean Brazier, Vice President of Economic Development and Competitiveness at BDP; Larkin Garby, the founder at Good Work Society; Debbie Melvin, Assistant Vice President of Talent Solutions at BDP; Eric Pages, President of EntreWorks; Randy Stamper, Assistant Vice Chancellor at VCCS; Jennifer Stevenson, President of Virginia Edge Strategies; and Bob Stolley, Senior Vice President at CIT. So for those new on the board, those board members and subject matter experts work with DHCD to review all these applications and have a pitch call from every region to get more in depth about the vision of the region for these particular projects and why they've brought them forward to the state board for seeking approval. I'm going to ask Sarah Dunnigan to review the details of each project. Vice Chairman Davenport would like to vote on each application type as a block. So you see we have 3 roll call votes left. And after the presentation of each application type, the chairman will call for a vote. Members may elect to pull an application after the presentation for a discussion or to vote on it outside the block. So with that, Sarah, I'll go ahead and turn it to you.
Thank you, Eric. And I would just like to mention Todd Stodlemeyer, who also participated as a board member in the application review. So I'm going to just give you a high-level overview of our per capita funding applications in front of you. There were 3 proposals submitted: 1 workforce development, 1 startup ecosystem, and 1 cluster scale-up. A total request of $1.4 million and $731,000 provided in total match, including about $200,000 from local partners. The first project in your packet, and this begins on page 31, is from Region 5. This is the Offshore Wind Supply Chain Hub Development Program. This is in the cluster scale-up strategy type. So Go Virginia has identified 4: workforce development, cluster scale-up, sites and infrastructure, and the startup ecosystem. So this is in that cluster scale up category. The overall goal of this project is to really build a robust offshore wind supply chain. The Hampton Roads Economic Development Alliance is requesting $528,000, really to take the lead and position Hampton Roads as a mid-Atlantic and global hub for offshore wind. Broad participation from localities, and a fair amount of state agency support and integration, including the Port of Virginia, the Virginia Department of Mines, Minerals, and Energy, VEDP, university partners, local chambers of commerce. This was developed, again, to align with the offshore wind industry project pipeline, and to support also the Commonwealth in meeting its goal of being carbon neutral by 2050. The applicant has indicated that this project is expected to create as many as 1,000 jobs over a 5 to 10 year period, and if successful, could result in $50 million in new capital investments. The request for funds primarily supports 2 full-time positions at HREDA. The applicant also makes a commitment to engage existing Virginia businesses in becoming part of this exciting offshore wind supply chain. There was consensus support from the work group, and DHCD is recommending this project for approval. The next project in your packet is from Region 6. And just for folks that wonder if there's method in our madness, we do present them in order, numerical order of the councils, not alphabetically or anything else. This is coming to us from Region 6. This is the Westmoreland Workforce Training Center expansion. The investment strategy is workforce development. The goal is to expand the CNC machinist and welding program to other industries. The outcomes described in the application included 340 individuals trained, 75 individuals hired as a result, requesting $250,000, matching $125,000. Rappahannock Community College would be delivering an expanded catalog of programming through this location. After a discussion by the work group and feedback responses provided by the applicant, we are recommending to the board that a decision on this application be made until a previously funded workforce study is completed, which we believe will illuminate a bit more what the actual demand is for trained workers in this part of the region. Further, we are recommending to the Region 6 Council that they pursue an economic resilience and recovery fast access grant to ensure that the existing training can sustain. This has become a really important asset and resource for companies in that region. And after discussion with the applicant, we felt that the priority here should be on sustaining that existing training. And in fact, we have received, subsequent to that conversation, an approved application from Region 6 to do just that. So the request, the recommendation here is to defer this application. Thank you. Next slide. The final per capita application for your review today is Startup Shenandoah Valley. The Stanton Creative Community Fund is requesting $628,000 to really deliver a 3-pronged approach to solidify a startup ecosystem and an entrepreneurial ecosystem in the Shenandoah Valley. The level of support region-wide for this project was incredibly impressive. I'm not going to read you all the localities. I will tell you, I think it is almost every one. The other exciting part of this project by its economy report. So folks who've been on the board may remember there was a study commissioned and a report given to each region that really was kind of testing and measuring their existing entrepreneurial assets and made some very specific recommendations. This project is responding directly to the findings of that study, and they've got some outcomes as stated there. The work group recognized the broad regional collaboration Certainly the alignment with the region's growth and diversification plan and its responsiveness directly to the economy report, we are recommending this application for approval as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Are there discussion about these items? Any one of them?
Ben, it's Debbie. I move the resolutions, the passage.
Okay, just to kind of further expand on that, Will, is there a second?
Hey, Smith, I'll second it.
Okay, so what we're voting on is that we're recommending that Region 6 project be deferred, and but at the same time for them to get current funding needs with the economic resilience and recovery funds, and so the motion then is for approval of Region 8 and Region 5's application. And so it's been moved and seconded. Andrew, can I have a vote?
Nancy Agee. Delegate Bagby.
Aye.
Thank you. Secretary Ball.
Aye.
Senator Barker. Ben Davenport.
Aye.
Jim Dyke.
Aye.
Speaker Fillercorn.
Aye.
Haywood Fralin.
Aye.
Leah Freemow.
Aye.
Senator Howell.
Aye.
Deb Juanarina.
Aye.
Secretary Lane.
Aye.
Delegate Mugler.
Aye.
Secretary Carney.
Aye.
Senator Ruff.
Aye.
Steve Smith.
Aye.
Todd Stottlemyre.
Aye.
Robin Sullenberger.
Aye.
Delegate Torian. Delegate Torian. Pia Trigiani.
Aye.
Marilyn West. Joe Wilson.
Aye.
And Debbie Nguyen.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Sarah, will you continue?
Yes, thank you. The next item up for consideration is a statewide competitive application which was received under the provisions of the Economic Resilience. And when the board created this program in April, as you remember, there was $5.6 million restricted for projects with statewide impact. And that is this application. The title of this project is GENEDGE, Retooling Virginia Manufacturers for Strategic Industries, $2.95 million, to expand the capabilities of existing manufacturers, develop ongoing revenues in the areas of PPE, and also to reduce supply chain risk in health response in the Commonwealth and indeed the nation. GENEDGE is the state's manufacturing extension partnership. They have received some federal funding through the CARES Act, through the National Institute, and that is contributing to this match as well as regular program income from their clients. This was a very interesting and exciting application for us to review for a few reasons. First, this is the first statewide application that has had statewide endorsement from every regional council in the state. Manufacturing has certainly been identified as a priority industry sector by the majority. In fact, all but one region identified advanced manufacturing as a priority, but even that region 7 formal action on this application and endorsed it. In addition to helping Virginia Bay develop those revenues in the areas of PPE, there's a second phase of this project that will really help participating manufacturers diversify their market and respond to other opportunities, things that are coming down the line with regards to potential reshoring, reducing international sourcing risk for some critical medical supplies, and initiatives to bolster Department of Defense supply chains as well. Region 1 was the lead regional council for this project, and GenEdge has been very active in accommodating and creating an advisory council to guide this project, and engage the regional councils in really all phases, including creating a network for referrals as companies are identified. The Virginia has also supported, endorsed this project, and VDP, who is also supportive in helping to identify target market for business expansion through their research division, which is fairly robust. The outcomes are described here. I will tell you, for statewide competitive projects, we employ George Mason University, an economist there, Terry Clower, to run a return on investment or an economic impact model. This was overwhelmingly positive. The project indicates it has the potential to create jobs and help participating companies generate almost over $81 million in new revenue, and also to facilitate some new capital investments as companies may need to retool or invest in new equipment to accommodate these new business opportunities. The work group was very supportive, very positive on this project. We had the benefit of having some subject matter experts that had reviewed GenEdge performance for other federal grants, and so that was a helpful insight as well. We are recommending this project for approval, but I do believe Bill Donahue with GenEdge is on this, Mr. Davenport, if there were any questions from the members, but DHCD is recommending this project for approval.
Thank you, Sarah. And yes, Bill Donahue, who heads up GenEdge, is on the call. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman, this is Frank. No questions, but in all the work that I've seen GenEdge do, they have been super and efficient and very careful about their work. And so I would move that we approve this.
Thank you, Frank. So it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion?
And I'm sorry, who made that motion?
Frank Ruff made the motion, and
Jim Dyke, second.
Thank you, Mr. Dyke.
I don't mean to cut the discussion short. Is there further discussion about this? Then hearing none, Andrea, will you do a roll call?
Start with Nancy Agee. Delegate Boswell.
Aye.
Secretary Ball.
Aye.
Senator Barker. Ben Davenport.
Aye.
Jim Dyke.
Aye.
Peter Fillercorn.
Aye.
Haywood Fralin.
Aye.
Leah Freemow.
Aye.
Senator Howell.
Aye.
Doug Wanarina.
Aye.
Secretary Lane.
Aye.
Delegate Mugler.
Aye.
Secretary Conley.
Aye.
Senator Ruff.
Aye.
Steve Smith.
Aye.
Todd Stottlemyre.
Aye.
Robin Sullenberger.
Aye.
Delegate Torian,
Aye.
Pietrangani,
Aye.
Marilyn West, Joe Wilson,
Aye.
and Debbie Nguyen.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Sarah, will you continue?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Davenport. We are going to now review regional economic resilience and recovery application. So again, the program created each region, I'll call it an allotment, the opportunity to apply for up to $1 million to apply to efforts that help mitigate the economic impact of the pandemic, build new capacity to serve and support businesses who may have been negatively affected by the virus. We received 4 applications through this particular program, and we're presenting you with 2 of them today. One of them, again, is in the workforce development investment strategy. And the other one we're qualifying as cluster scale up. It really is designed to serve and support existing businesses in a really robust and unique way. 1.425 million in total funding requests. The match is indicated there. Applicants have brought an additional $733,000 in leverage. And if you remember, Go Virginia, the program requires matching funds that are non-state revenue. And so typically when you see leverage, it's either match in excess of what is required, or it's a partner commit other resources towards the effort. And we cannot count those as match, but they are not insignificant. And so those are the numbers there. The first one that we'd like to share with you today is coming to us from Region 2. This project is a follow-on. There was a small administratively approved project to help build some capacity for COVID testing in Region 2. This is a follow-on. The Virginia Tech Office of Health Sciences and Technology is requesting $500,000 to increase capacity at the 2 newly established Freeland laboratories in Blacksburg and Roanoke to allow for COVID-19 testing over a 1-year period and to develop an internship to full-time employment pipeline. Funding will allow the lab to test patients who are symptomatic now. And we really think important to provide more wide-scale surveillance testing to help support businesses in their reopening to assure that there's adequate testing capacity to do that. This application came in partnership with Virginia Western Community College and Radford University. Specifically, Virginia Tech is going to be hosting internships to train individuals to conduct these sophisticated tests. And there is not existing workforce capacity to do that. It's going to create an internship program. This project has several partnering localities, including the counties of Allegheny, Botetourt, Craig, Giles, Montgomery, Pulaski, Roanoke, and the cities of Covington, Radford, Roanoke, and Salem. This project is unique for Go Virginia in that it also includes the involvement of the health departments, which we recognize are reopening strategies at the regional level. The outcomes are indicated here. The work group asked a lot of smart questions about whether or not the skills developed during this project would be transferable. The response was that the growing life science industry in Region 2 really creates some urgent need for folks who've got experience in these sophisticated assays. Virginia Tech actually has a very novel testing approach. We also asked questions about a potential for commercialization, et cetera, and they provided, we thought, a very thoughtful response to that as well. We are recommending this project for approval. Next slide, please. The next project is Region 3. This project is called Bridge to Recovery. This project really has a goal of providing immediate impactful support to businesses through really a very multifaceted approach. The two regional economic development organizations in that part of the state, which are the Southern Virginia Regional Alliance and the Virginia Growth Alliance, are requesting $925,000. That in and of itself, that partnership between the two regional economic development groups was certainly noted as something important to Go Virginia, this idea of regional collaboration. The project intends to do a couple of things, really engage a very broad network of stakeholders in expanding on the needs assessment work that they've already done, and to build a supply chain strategy to connect companies to one another and to professional services, but also to connect businesses in the region to business opportunities outside the region as well. A big part of this request will be used to provide technical assistance in a cost share model with companies who elect to participate, and really to build and sustain capacity during this recovery period in Region 3. There is a note, Region 3 wants to provide assurances to the state board that the question of sustainability, they believe, has been asked and answered at the regional level. The two regional economic development organizations are longstanding. This is going to create a new framework for business retention and expansion activities. So just building really, I think, a new model to deliver those types of services, which is going to be helpful in the future. There are certainly lots of instances when a response team like this will be important. This applicant was very bold with the outcomes for this project: 500 jobs retained, 100 full-time jobs created, $10 million in capital investment. They intend to construct a supplier database to help connect companies to one another. Best practice model for really business engagement and technical assistance, which we believe could be shared with other regions and replicated for other types of disaster response. We are recommending this project for approval. I will just also note that this will, Region 3 will be utilizing with this request the final tranche of its $1 million allotment for the Economic Resilience and Recovery Program.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Is there discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. This is Secretary Carney.
Okay.
Sarah and Mr. Chairman, with these requests for that are specifically COVID related, and especially that since they're coming from Virginia Tech, can we just make sure that, and I'm not opposed to these requests, but can we give this list to the governor's office, because there's a lot of requests that are coming in and proposals are coming in for the CARES Act monies. So we just want to make sure there's no duplication in requests. So that would be really helpful.
Okay, that's a good point. Sarah, you can do that.
Yes, absolutely. And Secretary Carney, just so you know, we did have conversations with the health department, the individuals who really are responsible from a testing perspective statewide, but we will make sure to reinforce these projects were funded. And we can also encourage or require when we go to contract negotiations for these projects that those formal linkages be established.
Great, thank you so much.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, this is Leah Freeman. I have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
On the Region 3 project, Sarah, could you just talk a little bit more about the shared cost model? Am I interpreting that correctly to understand that the businesses participating will have subsidized professional services or these resources, or they will be free to the businesses in this network?
Leah, that's a great question. You know, it's been described to us, it could be both. So the applicants intend to develop, and they've already done some survey work with companies in the region to say what are our needs, and they intend to build kind of a resource team under each of those business need categories. I do believe the applicant intends to enter into formal contracts, if you will, for collaborative cost sharing and investments. There may be cases when the services are available through another network partner, and those would be available free of charge, or maybe available at a negotiated reduced rate.
Thank you.
All right, are there other questions?
Mr. Chairman, Robin Sullenberger. I was part of the review team on this, and at first blush, this is the Bridge to Recovery program also. First blush, it looked a little open-ended. Mr. Stottlemyre and I both asked questions about that. Clearly, this is a region that has from a collaborative regionalism aspect, has had some struggles in the past. As Eric Johnson mentioned during the review process, this is probably the most comprehensive application they have seen in terms of the regional cooperation, and as that is a basic tenet of the whole Go Virginia program, I think that they really have put together a new paradigm down there, and are to be commended for that, because it certainly appears that they've really got everybody on board, and this is going to be a great project.
Thank you, Robin. Are there other comments? Sarah, I know that there was some discussion about on the first one there, the one that involved the testing, that perhaps that Haywood and Nancy would abstain on that vote.
Yes, and they are both on the phone, and we did have that discussion. Yes, sir.
So do we need to vote on these separately, or?
You know, I think that's a good point, sir. I did not think of that. I do think we should do a roll call vote on each item separately.
All right, so can I have a motion on the first one there that involves the testing?
So move.
Second, Doug Wanarina.
All right. Did you get that, Sarah?
And who made the first motion, please?
Jim Dyke.
Thank you, Mr. Dyke.
Okay. All right, Kim. Any further discussion? Andrea?
Okay, Ms. Agee? Delegate Bagby? Secretary Ball?
Aye.
Senator Barker? Ben Davenport?
Aye.
Dyke?
Aye.
Speaker Fillercorn?
Aye.
Haywood Fralin?
I abstain.
Thank you. Ms. Freemow?
Aye.
Senator Howell?
Aye.
Doug Wanarina?
Aye.
Secretary Lane?
Aye.
Delegate Mugler?
Aye.
Secretary Carney?
Aye.
Senator Ruff? Steve Smith?
Aye.
Todd Stottlemyre?
Aye.
Robin Berger?
Aye.
Delegate Torian?
Aye.
Pia Trigiani?
Aye.
Marilyn West? Joe Wilson? And Debbie Wynn?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, can I have a motion for the Region 3 project?
So moved, Robin Sullenberger.
Second, Todd Stottlemyre.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? Then Andrew, will you do a roll call?
Nancy Agee?
Aye.
Delegate Bagby?
Aye.
Secretary Ball?
Aye.
Senator Barker? Ben Davenport?
Aye.
Jim Dyke?
Aye.
Speaker Fillercorn?
Aye.
Haywood Fralin?
Aye.
Leah Freemow?
Aye.
Senator Howell,
Aye.
Doug Wanarina,
Aye.
Secretary Lane,
Aye.
Delegate Mugler,
Aye.
Secretary Carney,
Aye.
Senator Ruff, Steve Smith,
Aye.
Todd Stottlemyre,
Aye. Against the Region 3 project.
Robin Sullenberger,
Aye.
Delegate Orion,
Aye.
Pia Trigiani,
Aye.
Marilyn West, Joe Wilson,
Aye.
and Debbie Nguyen.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Sarah, will you continue?
Yes, I would like just to make a note. We mentioned at the top of this section that we received 4 applications under this regional ERR grant type. 2 regions elected to withdraw their applications at this time, but I do suspect they will make it back to the state board. Region 1, Ignite Tech Talent Pipeline Initiative. This was withdrawn for just further refinement. The applicant was the United Way of Southwest Virginia and the Region 1 Council, and we have scheduled time to discuss the potential of a phased project approach with them the week after the 4th. Region 8 had submitted a Back to Work initiative proposal, and that was also withdrawn after work group feedback, but we would expect to see perhaps a return of that application at our September meeting. We will continue to work with those regions to ensure that those projects in some form can move forward in a way that's consistent with Go Virginia and the ERR grant program guidelines.
Okay, Sarah, does that complete your?
It does, sir. Yes, sir. And I do believe.
Yeah, Eric. Now.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Mr. Davenport. We'll now go to item 4D, the DHCD Improved Enhanced Capacity Building Projects. That's on page 47 of your packet. So the remainder of the director's report are information items only that are included for you to review and do not require action today. In your packet, you'll find summaries for 9 enhanced capacity building projects that were administratively approved by DHCD. These total $633,605 in funded projects. These applications came in during a new rolling application cycle that DHCD instituted post-COVID-19 to allow for a more timely response to planning or capacity building efforts that are up to $100,000. So these, for new members, these projects represent really building a pipeline for future well thought out projects that will come through our normal application cycle process for the either per capita or competitive projects. And again, I really want to commend the regional councils and their support organization staff and Sarah and her team for reviewing those on a weekly basis really quickly. So the regions are moving quick on those to get good projects out. So if we can advance the slide, we'll move to the next item, which is the DHCD approved Economic Resilience and Recovery Fast Track projects. Similarly, in your packet, you'll find summaries for these 13 Economic Resilience and Recovery, or what we're calling ERR Fast Access projects. These total $1,033,000 and are projects that offer near-term strategies to combat the economic downturn due to COVID-19. They include projects that focus on workforce development, startup ecosystem, and cluster scale-up Go Virginia investment strategies. And the exciting thing is a couple of like the big Virginia Tech Region 2 projects you saw today, they got a start on this, and the board really wanted folks to get a start on this early. So there were some pre-work through the administrative approval process to help build at least one of these larger projects. So we expect some of these also will build into larger projects that you'll see at the next board meeting. So those are my updates, Mr. chair on the enhanced capacity building and fast access. Then, unless there's any questions, Sarah's going to walk us through the program funded projects. There's some larger spreadsheet in your packet, but she's put together a slide to help kind of give a summary of where the projects are and give you a high level overview for the board to take a look. So that concludes my report. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about funded projects a little bit. This is a supplement really to the spreadsheet that we typically provide at our meeting that lists the region, the project name, the amount of the award, and there's been a lot of interest on the percentage of funds drawn. What I want to try to do with my presentation today is give you a high-level overview and really think about Go Virginia and these funded projects as kind of your investment portfolio. And we'd like to continue to work with board members and getting feedback on how we can help to illuminate, where the opportunities are and where we may need to rethink or revisit strategies around the program. So could you move to the next slide, Billy? I talk about investment strategy, and these are the 4 areas where the board has provided some direction. This is for projects funded through 6.5. It does not include the projects funded today, but I do think it's important and interesting to note that since program inception, about 65% of the investments have been in the workforce development category. Now that number has trended down since I joined the team in September, and we're seeing some increases in some other areas, most notably startup ecosystem. And I think that's an area where the board made some intentional decisions to create the regional entrepreneurship investment strategy grant type, the taxonomy report, and we're definitely seeing an increasing request for funding in that startup ecosystem category. The next one to follow is site development and infrastructure. And we have polled all the regions on what they anticipate for the next 12 to 24 months in terms of projects. Of course, VEDP has rolled out the results of their site characterization study work as well. And so I think this is going to be the category to watch personally over the next 12 to 24 months. I think there's going to be a fair amount of interest, again, in site development. And then the last one is cluster scale up. Only about 4% of the investments have been in that, seeing an uptick. And certainly when we look at this chart next month, considering the focus of the Economic Resilience and Recovery Grant Program on existing businesses, I would expect that to increase slightly as a percentage of the total investments. Next slide, please. We've created a number of grant types. And the thing I want you to notice about this chart is of all the funds deployed by Go Virginia, and I believe that number is around 31 million in total, 30% of those have been on statewide competitive projects. Now, from the board's perspective, significant. These projects tend to be larger. They tend to have a statewide implications and impact. 55% of the funds have been through the regular regional per capita. All of the other grant types that you see there are actually subsets. They are also funded through a region's per capita, but for special purposes. Enhanced capacity building. About 10% of the whole investment portfolio right now is devoted to project pipeline development or smaller scale implementation projects. The Regional Entrepreneurship Initiative is about 2% of the total portfolio, if you will. And then the Economic Resilience and Recovery Fast Access, which we've included for the purpose of today's presentation, at 1.1 million is about 3% of the total. Next slide. I know match has been a big focus of the Go Virginia program as well. We created this chart just to show you, what match looks like in kind of the Go Virginia environment. Site development infrastructure is a space where we tend to see a lot of match coming forward. The blue line is the Go Virginia award, okay, the blue portion of the blue bar, and then the orange is what's added by that committed match. And so you can see kind of the total leveraged investment in each of those categories. Next slide. In terms of committed program outcomes, the projects that you see there, and I think that these charts I know reflect 109 projects funded. In terms of job creation, 11,000. You can see the internships, apprenticeships, credentials awarded, the number of businesses served, created, and then we've also added some core metrics around the site development and infrastructure investment category, including the number of sites and acres impacted. And consistent with the board's new policy around site development, the total number of acres that are elevated a tier under the Virginia Business Ready Sites Program framework. Next slide. This is just a snapshot of funds awarded and project count by region. So you can see the bar, that's the dollar amount, the total dollar amount of awards. And then the number to the right of that bar are the number of projects. So you can see Region 7 right now is kind of leading the pack with the $6.2 million in awards. And Region 6 has had about 699,000. I will tell you though, Region 6 has submitted probably 4 applications in the past 2 months. So we're really excited to be working with them at this time. And that's the distribution, if you will, for the other funds awarded program since inception through 6/5 of 2020. Next slide. I was curious about the average award per project by region. The state average for all awards is about $290,000. You can see the breakdown by region. I do want to draw your attention to Region 3. Region 3 has had some of our larger funded projects, competitive statewide projects. And for the purpose of this chart right now, they've been allocated the total amount of that grant. So we have not, I don't believe in this chart, distributed that. So Region 3 really posts the highest numbers, but they have pursued 2 fairly large statewide competitive project grants. Next slide. If we just take a look at the implementation projects, so if we pull out any projects that are planning related, or I don't want to call them feasibility study, but proof of concept, this is what that looks like. So the state average request increases dramatically because remember, the board has limited the amount of funds that can be spent on those types of planning activities. And so these are projects. And again, Region 6 is the smallest at this time. Region 3 on this chart is posting the largest numbers, but they have been lead for, a significant statewide couple competitive applications. Next slide. And Eric, I can answer any questions about my presentation, or I can hand it over to you. I guess I'd be curious too, from members' perspective, if there is any additional kind of view you'd like. We have a lot of data on these projects, and I don't want to overwhelm anyone. I'm very curious about the program's activity since the beginning, but feel free to send me a note. You can send me an email if you've got a question. What I'd like to do is build this out as kind of a regular part of the board presentation. We do have where each applicant has committed to certain outcomes and deliverables. We have a closeout procedure where they actually state if those were accomplished, and we'd like to share those with you as well over time.
Mr. Chairman, may I make one comment? This is Leah Freeman. Just to the team at DHCD, I really appreciate seeing the overview and the analysis of the grant making and the work that we're doing, and also layering in the impact numbers there with the jobs created and things like that. That's really great to see all in one place. So thank you. And I also just want to say it's very clear all the work that you all have put into the ERR applications and all of that stuff. So thank you for getting that money into the hands of the regions and during this crisis and everything else that you're doing.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, Leah.
Eric?
All right. I'll move to the last item on the director's report, the withdrawn or incomplete projects. And before I do that, thanks for that update, Sarah, and that comment, Leah. I'd really be happy to know from board members how we can find some additional ways to give you that overview and summarize as this project's come to completion over this year. Because as you all new on the board may recall, December of 17 was when we began really funding projects, the board did. And so we'll be seeing over this year the finalization of many of those original projects and be able to analyze their outcomes. So the last item on the director's report is the withdrawn and complete projects. And there's a memo in your packet that describes letters from council leadership from regions 1, 5, 7, and 9. And they're outlining various reasons for withdrawing 4 projects that were previously funded by the state board. So this is just information that we want to share with the board. There's no action required, and we're monitoring closely on these, as you can see from the memo, some where they something changed in terms of the project partnerships and they didn't get to contract execution with us and we're returning all the funds to the regional council. Others where they got through the outcomes up to the point where they were spending, but are returning the rest because of various regional level. So I just refer that to you for your information, and we're encouraging our regional councils to do the same to monitor their grants and make sure they're being transparent with the board about when a project does not completely get done or when it gets half done. So make sure we're tracking those funds carefully. So that concludes our director's report, and I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman, unless there's any questions.
Okay, any questions for Eric or Sarah? Todd, you give us an update on VRIC? You're muted. You
myself off. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you know, VRIF was established in 2016 with 3 primary objectives. The first, to encourage and fund more research in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The second, to encourage collaboration between and among our research universities. And finally, to focus on capacity building and creating a strong ecosystem for more translational research and commercialization in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Today was VRIC's final meeting, as it is transferring its responsibilities to the New Virginia Innovation Partnership Authority, or VIPA. Before commenting on 2 specific items from today's VRIC meeting, I want to recognize and thank Peter Blake, the Executive Director of SHEV, for his leadership in chairing VRIC over the past 3.5 years. I also want to thank and express our appreciation and gratitude to the SHEV staff, particularly Lynn Seifert for her great support and their great support over the past 3.5 years as well. We got great support from the SHEV staff. I want to recognize that. There are 2 items from today's VRIC meeting that I want to highlight. First, VRIC received a report and presentation from Emily Salmon of SHEV regarding an inventory of the Commonwealth's research and development assets. VRIC endorsed and approved this report. I want to recognize and thank Emily for her outstanding work, not only in this report, but also throughout her support for VRIC. Second, VRIC discussed the VRIF found around 4 proposals for financial support for proof of concept and commercialization. These proposals total $15 million over 4 years. VRIC discussed these proposals in some detail, recognizing that VRIC's existence is ending on June 30th, and we are transferring our work to the New Virginia Innovation Partnership Authority. Because of this, VRIC voted to approve the $15 million over 4 years, subject to ratification by the New Virginia Innovation Partnership Authority Board of Directors. So we have conveyed our approval and support, subject to the new board ratifying that approval when they come into existence after July 1st. In concluding, I want to thank my fellow VRIC board members for their service as VRIC now comes to a conclusion. I also want to recognize and thank W. Wynn. He was an original VRIC board member for his years of thought leadership that ultimately led to the establishment of VRIC and now the Virginia Innovation Partnership Authority. And thanks Secretary Ball and Deputy Secretary Robbie Demiria for their great work in establishing the Virginia Innovation Partnership Authority. And finally, on behalf of VRIC, we want to wish the new Virginia Innovation Partnership Authority and its board members much success in the years ahead. There's a lot of work still to do, and we look forward to the great work that they're going to do. And with that, I will say VRIC out.
No, that's good. Thank you, Todd. We appreciate all your hard work on that in that group. And I would ask, are there any other comments or anyone want to add to that? Well, then we will accept that report, Todd, and I would like to remind everyone that our next scheduled big board meeting is September the 3rd, followed by one on December the 8th. You know, in particular, I want to thank the staff and the members of the board and all the regional boards. I sense a cohesiveness there that has really been has made, I think, all of us feel like that we're accomplishing a mission that we'd like to accomplish in the efforts of Go Virginia. For all of you that are new on the board, I hope that you feel like that you're getting all the information you need. I know that you know, these grants are just the beginning of things that I feel very comfortable that the staff, that Eric and Sarah and the whole team is doing a good job of following up and making sure that the monies are spent appropriately. So we're very serious about investing the Commonwealth's resources.
Hey, Ben, excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Ben, this is Brian Ball. I just, there have been a number of compliments given, and I wanted to get in line and offer my own thanks to Eric and Sarah and all the folks at DHCD. Go Virginia really distinguished itself putting this economic resilience and recovery program together on such short notice, and has already approved projects and funds are being deployed. And we've challenged all the commerce and trade agencies and authorities to come up with innovative way to address this COVID crisis. And I have to say, you all were first out of the blocks, and so much to be proud of. And you set an example for others. And in addition to that, these folks, and I'm going to leave out lots of people, but I include Pam and others. They do a lot of other things on a day-to-day basis. They deal with homelessness, and they have put together a Virginia rent and mortgage relief program that we're going to be rolling out early next week, hopefully. And that has taken, it's been under very, the time constraints on that have been severe, and they've really had to drop everything to get that put together. And yet they haven't dropped everything. They've managed to continue to do the sort of core day-to-day functions and take care of Go Virginia business. So I wanted to give them a thanks, because I've had a front row seat to all this work, and it's humbling to be part of this, and I thank you for that.
I really appreciate you adding those comments. Because many of us, I know I only see this side of what's being done by DHCD, but I know Sarah was telling me to look at the website when I wanted to see Go Virginia's web portal, and when I did, I realized, my goodness, y'all have a lot of balls in the air, and and stepping out and being assertive in doing things. We really applaud that because that's y'all are operating this just like a business ought to be operated. We appreciate it very much. Any other comments? Well, then, with 5 minutes to spare, we will adjourn this meeting. And again, thank you all for all your work and for participating today. It's been a good meeting. Have a good summer.
Thank you.
Be safe, stay healthy.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.